Hello and welcome back to This or That with Kobe and Dash, presented by Verizon. Guess what? We've already made it. It's the last week of the LCS Spring Split coming up really quickly. This weekend is going to be a banger.
Home stretch, 3 games between us and the postseason, but you know the deal. Do all the things. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, smash the buttons, as you do on the internet. Let's get into slide number 1 and see what's ahead of us. More correct top lane power ranking. Is it Fudge in the bottom half or Fudge in the top half?
I love it. It's so much easier when you don't have to do each individual ranking. If they're giving us a softball, you just got to do top half, bottom half. Nobody's going to get angry. I go top half for sure for Cloud9. Fudge, yes, they put him on weak side duty, hand him the Gragas 5 games in a row, then the Karma, but they also let him come out of his shell, had some more carry picks coming back here as well. C9 looking to be more diverse in their playstyle. Yep. I would say a little bit of a hamper here with their latest games against TSM and Team Liquid. Maybe a little bit more conservative ranking.
I would still go top half, though. I do like the top half call because on the number 1 team, performing solidly, I'm also removing the lock-in performances, which I think poisoned a lot of people's opinion of Fudge. And so, yes, a little downturn last week, but I think that was more of a team thing, not a Fudge thing, necessarily. Everybody was kind of falling apart. So I go top half on this one.
All right, next slide. What do we got? Number 2 is who would you start? Drama Day. Is it going to be Ryoma or Damonte? Here's my pitch for Damonte.
I'm not a GM for a reason. Okay, go ahead.
I have had a lot of talks with different teams for big GMs. Here's my pitch for Damonte. And honestly, we have the benefit of hindsight. So, James, your job is so easy here.
Okay.
100 Thieves. They started to lose a bit of their identity while they still had Damonte in. They went away from the Twisted Fate play. They went away from some of the proactive tower diving that they were actually doing, and they did more conservative control mage, sit backing for more scaling. Already started to lose their way. Then they put in Ryoma after going down that path, and it made sense then to them because they're like, okay, Ryoma, he's so good with these control mages. This is what he plays in Academy. Syndra, Azir, boom, throwing all these down. For Damonte, though, for 100 Thieves, it feels like they've lost their punch, and it's easily backed up now in hindsight with them racking up losses against everybody except for Golden Guardians. So honestly, I think most people would like to see, just fully and recommit yourselves to that style. I've talked to some people, and we already saw in LEC, Twisted Fate used by Fnatic with the same 3 picks that 100 Thieves were using way back in lock-in. They're like bringing that strategy back with the Talia, Renekton, Twisted Fate topside. Really proactive and strong map control. So I vote that.
All right, I'm with you on that. I go Damonte for 2 reasons. Number 1, a lot of what you just laid out, and I think Emily did a really good job on the analyst test this weekend, kind of laying that out as well. Look for those picks that do a similar thing to what Damonte used to do, even if they aren't those original champions. But keep investing him in that kind of a player. My other reason is because Damonte is a content machine. This guy is so much the face of your brand this year. Think about all those win-loss cams, and this guy should be the face of a brand, whether you like it or not. And so I think for that as well, I would put him out on the Rift.
Yeah.
Slide number 3.
No flame to Ryoma. I think he's been fine with the control mages.
I actually think he's been performing totally fine. I just think if I'm choosing a starter, I go with Damonte. Same. More critical to TSM, is it Huni or Spica? I'm going to go with Spica.
Can we just take a moment and appreciate these slides? Those are some good picks from these guys.
Those are some.
Love the attitude. I also love that last episode of TSM Legends of them playing chess. No spoilers, but it was a good chess match as well.
Yeah, I'm going to emulate these on my next driver's license photo.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna go Spica. Okay. I think because and it's a bit results based because again I think a lot of the wins have come from top performances out of Spica, whereas Huni, in a weird way, I think has gotten so much better at taking a back seat. If it were old Huni, I think we would generally argue that he's critical to his team's success because he's either going to feed heavily or he's just going to take over the game from the beginning. I think he's found a better middle ground now. And I think that TSM is ultimately more reliant on Spica now to get things done from the jungle.
I'm going to make kind of a meme argument for the Huni side, but hear me out here. We just saw a game where Spica was literally level 3 Hecarim to level 6 Lilia. That's not even really in the game still. And TSM come back. Sword Art's like taking him by the scruff of his collar. He's like, get over here. We're going for kills here.
Sword Art's not on the slide.
We're going for kills here. And honestly, I would tribute, the whole team to like tilt-proofing him to that opener because that was devastating. And then, even the extra death on top side too. Meanwhile, Huni, and we're talking about, some of the inside looks of this team. It just says more critical to TSM. He has done every team that he's on, always, he has a really big effect on the atmosphere of the team as well. Aside from just the individual play and the game knowledge to draw from and a lot of the experience to draw from. So that'll be my pitch for Huni.
That's a good point.
It is a little bit memey, but I do think this is a good timing for this slide coming right after the opener that TSM had against Cloud9. All right, next slide. What do we got?
Level 6.
Yeah, that's just such a break point. Oh my god,
it really is. That's when you walk away from the keyboard. Better Prophet, Crumbz or Azael?
So Azael predicted in the Captain Flowers go-to question of who's going to get first blood for the CLG match. He correctly predicted the Pobelter first blood. Meanwhile, Crumbz, it's hard to even go back and cite all the things. What was the most recent one that he had some
that he prophesized?
Yeah, because he had like 3 in a row in the same game. It was also with Captain Flowers,
yes, now I remember.
He was literally things.
Right, he was calling where the next kill would happen. But also here's the thing though, Crumbz revealed part of his secret during that. And maybe this makes him less of a prophet, because Crumbz had said, I just look for who doesn't have flash, and I say they're going to die next, because he relies on pro players to be good enough to track those spells.
It's good
reasoning, maybe Azael is more of a prophet.
That's good reasoning. So here's what I assume Azael used for his reasoning, was that it's an Ignite Flash Lucian. That's all right. Right there. So honestly, I feel like those are pretty similar.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sticking with Crumbz. He's the OG prophet, and he's got a better outfit. I'm with you on that. He's the OG prophet, better outfit. We got to stick with him.
Azael's already winning a steak dinner for his.
True.
We got to give Crumbz the winner of the this or that slide. Boom.
There it is. Boom.
All right.
Easy.
Next one is
next slide.
Needs resets more, Tristana or Jinx? I would say Tristana if you're doing skirmishes, Jinx if you're doing team fights. Because Tristana, really big rocket jump plays. We had a couple of them already this weekend. Raze, and then the previous weekend, a Blaze Olive was able to use in these side lane situations, getting a reset for the jump, getting out away from the rest of the team, or a Blaze Olive one where he escaped 2 people by getting a triple jump reset. Meanwhile, Jinx, that's a bigger impact if it is a team fight. That passive is way more important than the Tristana one.
And I think it further proves your point, the EG game, where definitely was multiple times throughout the game just shy of getting those resets for the Jinx, and you saw how easily it could have been like an ace one way if he were to get him, and getting, missing out on that last 10 health. He never gets the resets, isn't able to run over the team fight. I think I'm with you. I think Jinx ultimately needs them more to find the highest level of success, where Triss can still rely on the scaling of her range and some burst potential for skirmishing and being useful in fights.
And I think Tristanas are more cool. So you get that, Trist. Too bad you don't win the slide, but consolation prize, there you go. All right,
fair enough. Cloud9's 2-game slide. Are we worried or not worried? I am not worried.
Really?
I am not worried. And I don't know, maybe I'm getting poisoned by the story meetings that we had earlier today, where people are talking about particularly the idea that it feels like Cloud9 is starting to put their hands in a whole lot of buckets, as we've seen them do in the past. Hey, let's try playing this style where we go super range focused and we have to kite back. Okay, now let's go completely the other direction and let's play really dive heavy. Let's go carry top. Let's go weak side top. And so given that the team is that willing to experiment, I'm more willing to forgive a few losses. Beyond the fact that you look at the pedigree of the players on that roster, and again, I refuse to believe that like Perks, Sven, Blabber, these kinds, and even Vulcan themselves, these kinds of players are going to, slide going into the postseason. I think they're gonna push even harder, particularly remembering what happened in 2020. I think that's burned into their brains, and I don't think they're gonna let it happen again.
I've said no LCS fan of any team should not be worried right now, okay? Literally everybody should be worried.
They are close to losing the top spot, and that's a valid point.
And you're just like, oh, we didn't expect to be anywhere near the top. What's there to be worried about? We're up here playing with house money. Honestly, yeah, I think every fan of any team has something to be worried about right now. No team is absolutely clean. For Cloud9, I gotta put a pinpoint on my boy Perks. I love Perks, but man, he came up with some big mistakes this last weekend, and I'm starting to get a little bit shaky with these diamond hands here. For the
that Victor game was
Cloud9.
rough. That Victor game was rough.
And a couple of boneheaded Azir plays too. Like you said, I have full comments in them as players, but that's enough to get me on the worried slide. Which, by the way, for these slides, that is actually sad Pikachu and angry
Pikachu,
ready to fight Pikachu.
Right.
So I'm going with not worried, ready for the Pokefight, Pokeball.
Actually,
wait.
All right.
I changed.
You just talked yourself into the other side. I love it. No, great. You're on my side now. Before you can walk it back, slide number 7.
Keep rolling. Yep, get out of here. There we go.
Better young prospect, Lost or Neo? At the moment, I think you cannot argue against Neo. Like, Neo is, especially because of the growth. Again, this is a guy who I think was off of most people's radars before the name change, as Asta was rarely talked about, if anything. And then coupled with the point you just made about Dignitas, where there was no expectation. And then to see him and Aphromoo absolutely popping off in the bot lane, but not only the bot lane, in the team fights as well. That Callista game comes to mind from this last weekend. Yeah. I think Neo is showing up in a big way, and he's demanding attention.
I definitely agree. I think Neo's been popping off. I actually think that this last weekend was one of Lost's best weekends. And so it does make this slide hard, but Neo had multiple games, over 15 kills, absolutely smashing it for Dig. We talked about this a little bit on the dive when we had this, topic of hype trains for the different teams at the top. And I was like, you know what? Dignitas, they don't even have a train. Man, they started with this old bus. It's like an old Volkswagen.
They're one of those push carts where you got people on both sides doing the up and down thing.
They outfitted that thing with streamers. They got a spoiler on top. There's flames. There's dancers. There's a disco ball. They're just bumping music. It's just a party bus.
Somewhere along the way, someone handed them a can of NOS, and they just stuck that on the thing.
Yeah, they're wild out here for the Dig side. Honestly, it's great to see. And him being paired with Afro just reinforces the long-standing Afro storyline of building up AD carries, being a great mentor. Gotta love that one. All right, next slide.
Last slide.
Using an axe to open a can. Captain Flowers. Is it awesome or is it absurd? I would say, why not both?
So I actually agree with that. It is kind of both. I was going to say that I think the answer depends on how it ends.
Okay.
If it works and is done in a clean fashion, it's awesome. But if what happens is what happened this weekend to Captain Flowers, where in the middle of a broadcast you explode a can of energy drink, Red Bull, all over your apartment, then that is absurd. And you probably should have thought differently about your approach to opening that can.
I also think the size of the axe does matter. As
True.
Some Photoshops here. If it's this, giant actual two-handed
Darius axe,
battle axe or something, yeah, exactly. Or if it's more of a hatchet, that you can get closer to the realm of possibility there. And actually, a clean cut. I do like your results-based analysis for this one, though.
Yeah.
If it's a clean cut, that's pretty.
It's like trying to do the champagne trick with a knife, right? If it works, it's awesome. But if you're the idiot who just explodes the bottle, then it's like, well, that's absurd. You ruined the party, okay? And so,
all right. Well, Flowers spoiled it. He said he spilled all over the place.
It's true. Sorry, Flowers. Absurd.
Dang. I'll say. Awesome for next time, buddy. You got some practice in. Keep at it. Don't let your dreams be memes. Keep using that axe.
They were a meme today, though.
That is going to do it for this episode of This or That. Tune in this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for the last week of the spring split of the LCS. It's not really a split anymore. We're combining them all for Worlds qualifications for later, but this does lead into the MSI qualification tournament.
Yes, still matters.
Which is basically playoffs. You're welcome.
There it is.